Amanda here from createyourfuture.co. So today I thought I'd share with you a manifestation story of my own. And I really wanted to share this because this manifestation story to me represents something I thought was impossible that I actually manifested. So the story starts back a few years back. I was getting into the law of attraction and manifesting things, and I had learned that the secret to a breakthrough, like how to cause your own breakthrough, is to examine what your complaints are. And so I was in this course and I wrote down all my complaints, right? And the one that stuck out to me the most, that I thought was absolutely impossible, because I didn't quite even believe that all my complaints I could have a breakthrough and it can change just by becoming aware of them and changing them into intention. So the one that stood out to me the most that I wrote down was, my biggest pet peeve is paying for parking. I don't like paying for parking. When I grew up as a kid, we never paid for parking. And then it seemed like later on, 20 years later or 30 years later, when I was an adult living in Vancouver, that all I was paying for parking everywhere. And it drove me nuts. So that was one of my biggest complaints, was paying for parking, pay parking everywhere. And that complaint stuck out to me because I'm like, how could I possibly change that? How could I possibly change not paying for parking? There's parking meters. What are the parking meters all of a sudden going to disintegrate and not be there anymore? I was like, fat chance of that, right? So that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, okay, let's see if this really works. So I identified one of my major complaints as paying for parking, and I thought, you know what? Let's see if this one actually goes away, right? So I identified that complaint, and I changed that complaint into intention. I intend to always get free parking. And I thought about it and I said it to myself many, many times. I intend to always get free parking. And every time I thought about paying for parking, I would change that intention. Or anytime I complained about paying for parking, I would stop myself immediately and I would think to myself, I intend to get free parking. And so it actually, what happened was when I made that intention, I started noticing that all of a sudden there was maybe pay parking on the main street, but just maybe not even a block over, the other street, that it was free parking. And I started to notice where the free parking was as to paid parking. And I was like, wow, I'm starting to notice where I could actually park that's not really inconvenient. That might just be a street over, or not even, 2 parking spots over that were free. And I was like, wow, I'm starting to notice these things. And then one day, I was going to this networking event, and it was at a hotel. And I thought to myself, you know what? I don't want to pay for parking. I want free parking. I intend to have free parking. I intend to have free parking. I kept saying that to myself as I was driving there, and I was actually sitting in traffic, and I thought, okay, you know what? That's my intention for the night. I'm going to get free parking. Anyway, so I get to the hotel, and it says, and I notice on the top of where the parking spots are, that it's all paid parking. And I was like, oh man, I'm like, come on, I want free parking. I intend to get free parking. And all the spots on top were full, so I was like, okay, that's fine. So I went down to the underground, and I'm driving, and I see these signs. Please remember your stall number. Pay at the door where the elevator is. And I was like, oh man, I'm thinking, I'm not gonna get free parking. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. I've got to pay for parking, I'll pay for parking, whatever. So then I end up parking. I find a nice little spot, park there. And then of course I'm grumbling to myself because I don't want to pay for parking, and then I get out of my car, I'm getting my wallet out, and I realized I forgot my stall number, so I had to walk back to my car and look at the stall number. So as I'm thinking about the stall number and I'm walking back to where I've got to pay, I have my wallet out, but I'm like, no, I'm determined to get free parking. I intend to get free parking. I'm going to get it no matter what. Whether I got to go upstairs and say that I'm part of this convention they're having and or something, I'm intending to get free parking. And then all of a sudden, as I get to the parking meter, guess what it says? A sign on the parking meter that says, anyone coming to this event, you get free parking. And I was like, no way! So yeah, I guess the point of this manifestation story that I'm sharing with you is that you know, even when we think things are impossible, if we make a declaration or an intention, and we say that, you know, we're going to get this, we're going to see things that we probably hadn't seen before. So when I was complaining about always having to pay for parking, that's all I would see is the pay parking. I wouldn't notice the free parking around the corner, or like, you know, the free parking there. Like, you know, we've got a mall, and if you park underneath, it's free, but if you park on the street, you have to pay, you know, and just little things like that. I wasn't noticing where the free parking was available until I made the declaration that I intend to always get free parking. I intend to always find free parking. And yeah, and then I would start to see that there was free parking available, or little miracles. Like when I went to that event, there was this paper sign, you know, that anyone coming to this conference gets free parking, and these little things. So, you know, it really does work. And it was one of those things that is just absolutely amazing. So now, okay, I used to just do, I intend to have free parking. And of course I would find free parking somewhere, not always conveniently, but now I create the intention that I always find free parking in a convenient spot, and I do. And it was just amazing to me. It was like a revelation that, you know, we make a declaration, and once we stop complaining about something that we don't want, and we start putting that energy onto focusing and making an intention of what we want, that it does appear to us, it does come true. Of course, those free parking spots were always available around my town. It's just when I was complaining about paying for parking, I wasn't seeing them. And as soon as I made the declaration that I intended to find the free parking, I started to notice them, right? And that's how these things work. So that to me was something that's amazing. To this day, when I think something's impossible, I think back to how I manifest free parking. And I'm like, Amanda, you thought that was impossible. And guess what? It wasn't. It happened because you focused on what you wanted. So yeah, I just want to share my free parking story. It's something that I hold on to because, you know, when I first learned causing yourself a breakthrough through your complaints, that was one complaint that I thought was impossible to have a breakthrough on. And I had it because I thought, you know, well, what are these parking meters just going to dissolve and the city of New Westminster's just going to make parking free? No, that's not how it manifested. It manifested in a quite different way. But, you know, it was something, like I said, that I thought was absolutely impossible. And it did end up, I get free parking all the time. Sometimes I choose to park in the convenient location and pay for parking, but that's my choice now. It's no longer something that I am forced to do. Anyways, that's my manifestation story for today. Oh, the other thing I just want to add, sometimes actually when I intend to get free parking, there'll be money still left on the meter that somebody else put in. So, you know, little things like that do happen. Anyways, so yeah, that's my story. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope that gives you a little bit of inspiration and hope, and to expect the impossible to happen, because, you know, we may not see how it could happen, but when we put the intention out there, it does come to us one way or another. And when we look at how it does actually manifest and show up, it's kind of humorous to think, well, you know, I thought, you know, the city would decide that no one's going to pay for parking anymore, and I couldn't possibly see how it was going to happen. And yet it showed up in so many ways, whether it be free parking for an event, finding free parking like not far from where the pay parking is, or somebody leaving money on a meter, or even giving me a parking ticket for their stall in Parkade. So I always get free parking. I love it. And it's just a really little simple thing, but like I said, it was one of those things that I thought was pretty much impossible, but it turned out it was possible. Anyways, please subscribe. I put out videos every Sunday and Wednesday. And yeah, thanks for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And please comment down below, what have you manifested that you thought was impossible? Let's hear it. Talk to you guys later.